Nowadays, refrigeration is a common method to store food. The cold environment of a refrigerator slows down the growth of bacteria, mold, and other microorganisms that can make your food go bad. It is an ideal and convenient method to make your food fresh and edible for longer. However, sometimes refrigeration can negatively impact the texture, flavor, and overall quality of your food. This is why in this video, we will reveal to you the 15 foods you shouldn't refrigerate. We bet that you'll be surprised by most of the foods included in this video. Now, without any further ado, let's get to it. Number 1. Tomatoes. When you place tomatoes in the fridge, the cold temperature can cause the cell membranes of tomatoes to break down. You'll be left with dry tomatoes, with wrinkled skin on the outside and little flavor on the inside. At room temperature, place tomatoes in a single layer, stem side up, to prevent bruising and ensure even ripening. Number 2. Potatoes. The problem with refrigerating potatoes is that the low temperature breaks down the starch in potatoes into sugars more rapidly. This can result in an overly sweet taste and a gritty texture when cooked. Use a paper bag, burlap sack, or a cardboard box to properly store potatoes. Keep them away from the light to avoid greening. Number 3. Cucumbers. You surely don't want to be eating waterlogged and pitted cucumbers. Don't worry, we got you. Avoid refrigerating your cucumbers because that will increase the water activity in them. Instead of refrigerating them, keep cucumbers in a cool, dry place. If refrigerated, they should be kept in the crisper drawer and used within a few days. Number 4. Oils. All oils, except nut oils, should never be stored in the refrigerator. Your clear, liquid oil will turn cloudy and will solidify if you refrigerate it. How does this happen? No, this isn't magic. Simply the cold causes the fats in oils to solidify, leading to cloudiness and a thicker consistency. This physical change can be reversible once you leave the oil in a warm temperature for a few minutes, but it may alter the texture and usability. Always keep your oils in a tightly sealed container away from heat and light to prevent oxidation and rancidity. Number 5. Honey. We are warning you, if you refrigerate honey, you won't be able to recognize it when you take it out. This is because refrigerated honey crystallizes, which makes it hard to use. Honey doesn't need the fridge. It's naturally preserved owing to its low water activity and high sugar content. The moment you put your sweet honey in the fridge, you start a process that leads to the formation of glucose crystals. Store honey on the counter at room temperature in a tightly sealed container. Number 6. Onions. Did you know that refrigerating onions can make them moldy and mushy? This is because onions need a dry, well-ventilated environment to stay fresh. However, the environment in the fridge is the complete opposite. Refrigerators usually have a humid internal environment which can promote mold growth. As mold grows on onions, it softens their outer layer. Place your onions in a mesh bag or a basket to allow air circulation and prevent sprouting. A study was done where onions were stored at 4 degrees Celsius and 25 degrees Celsius with varying humidity levels for 30 days. The results were that onions stored at 4 degrees Celsius with high humidity had a 40% higher incidence of mold growth and a 20% increase in water content, leading to a mushy texture. Number 7. Coffee. Whether you prefer to use coffee beans or ground coffee, you shouldn't place either anywhere near the fridge. Unless your intention is for the coffee to absorb the odor from your fridge, there is no reason you should put it in there. Coffee is hygroscopic, which means it absorbs moisture and odors from the surrounding environment. All this absorbed odor will mask the delightful taste of the coffee. To maintain the taste of your coffee, keep them in an airtight container at room temperature. Before we continue, if you have been enjoying the video so far, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss more videos like this. Number 8. Garlic. It's best to avoid putting garlic in your fridge unless you want it to sprout and become rubbery. But of course, you wouldn't want that, would you? The process of garlic sprouting is sped up when garlic is placed in the fridge because the cold temperature induces the activity of the enzymes that lead to sprouting. In addition to that, the humidity and moisture in the fridge can make garlic cloves rubbery. The ideal way to store garlic is like onions, in a mesh bag or a basket. Number 9. Bread. Nobody would like stale bread for breakfast. This is why you shouldn't store your bread in the fridge. Even though this will slow mold growth and won't allow it to get moldy quickly, however, you'll be eating dry and hard bread. The breakdown of starch to sugars is accelerated in low temperatures, such as inside the fridge. The end result is the bread losing its moisture and becoming stale. Experiments have shown that bread stored at 4 degrees Celsius has a 25% faster rate of staling. It's best to keep your bread in a bread box or a paper bag at room temperature. Number 10. Avocados. Avocados need ethylene gas to ripen. Refrigeration slows down the formation and function of this gas, which delays the ripening process. So, if you leave your avocados in the fridge, they won't ripen properly. Until your avocados are ripe, keep them at room temperature. Once ripe, you can place them in the fridge to slow down further ripening and extend their shelf life. Number 11. Bananas. If you've ever left bananas for a while in your fridge, you may have noticed that they turn brown and mushy faster. The scientific explanation to this is that cold temperatures cause cell wall damage to banana cells, which results in browning and softening. Adding to that, cold temperatures also slow down the activity of enzymes involved in the ripening process of bananas. Keep bananas in a fruit bowl away from other fruits to prevent accelerated ripening caused by ethylene gas. The only condition when it's acceptable to refrigerate bananas is that they are overripe. Refrigeration can slow further ripening. Number 12. Whole melons. It's such a waste if you refrigerate whole melons. They'll end up losing their flavor and texture. Unfortunately, the compounds responsible for the flavor of melons are broken down by refrigeration. You'll be disappointed with a flavorless and watery watermelon. So store your whole melons at room temperature until fully ripe. Once ripe, whole melons can be refrigerated to prolong their freshness. Cut melons, on the other hand, should always be stored in the refrigerator in an airtight container. Number 13. Basil. Basil is an herb sensitive to cold temperatures. Putting it in the fridge can cause damage to its cells, leading to discoloration and wilting due to the breakdown of chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is a green pigment found inside basil cells that gives the herb its vibrant green color. After placing basil in your fridge, you'll find it wilted and black. According to experts, the best way to store basil is by keeping the stems in a glass of water and covering them loosely with a plastic bag away from direct sunlight. Alternatively, you can wrap the leaves in a damp paper towel and store them in a plastic bag. Number 14. Peppers. If firmness and flavor are characters you desire in your peppers, then keep those peppers out of the fridge. Cold temperatures slow down the metabolic processes in peppers that help it keep its firmness and flavor. So, refrigerating them can make them pitted on the surface and flavorless. The best way to store peppers is at room temperature in a cool, dry place. If you really must put them in the fridge, opt for an airtight container. Number 15. Winter squash. Winter squash can become dry and lose its flavor once refrigerated. Refrigeration can decrease the metabolic activity in the skin of winter squash. This skin must be kept thick to act as a natural barrier against spoilage. However, refrigeration disrupts it. This is why it's best to store winter squash in a cool, dark, and well-ventilated place. So, these were the top 15 foods you shouldn't refrigerate. Now, we want to hear from you. Have you ever tried refrigerating any of these foods before? How did it affect your food? Share with us your experiences and opinions in the comments below. We love to hear them. Thanks for watching.